again, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe because you guys are gonna want to know how to deal with somebody who tries to act like we have to wear phylacteries like that's in the Mosaic law.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to apostles and elders, GMS, Ruel. Peace and salutations to Lake Akim in the four corners, pushing the truth for sincerity. Peace be unto you. Shalom. So, if you look at this screen right here, this is from a website, and it's showing you all 613 commandments for those who have never wrote them out. You got a little cheat sheet. It's got the corresponding verse right along with the law. Notice frontlets is a law. I'm gonna pause it right here for a second. Frontlets between your eyes is a law by itself. Also, frontlets on your arm is another law. So those are two laws. You still got 611 more. Doing basic math, if there's 613 laws and you just said these two are not laws, then that means we got 611. There's a problem with this. Sicarii doesn't teach that there's 611 laws. They teach us there's 613 laws. So what 613 laws are there? What are they? You'd have to answer that. Now, I know you couldn't answer it, and nobody can answer it, because you're not going to come up with 613 laws without mentioning frontlets between your eyes and frontlets on your hand. You're not going to find 613 Mosaic laws. So I could throw the challenge out there, but nobody's going to accept it. Nobody's going to complete it. There's 613 laws. So that's just basic math right there. Now, Hakah has an album called 613. And it's in reference to 613, which is how many Mosaic laws there are. Now, I want to just add this for those who are new. There's 613 Mosaic commandments, but you have many more commands in the Bible. God told Adam, be fruitful and multiply. That's a command. It's not a Mosaic commandment. Nevertheless, it is a command. What would Adam be like? Nah, I'm not following that. That's not in the Mosaic law. Because here's the trick. The law existed before Moses gave it. I'll say that again. The law existed before Moses gave it. That might be another lesson depending on what level of depending on what level you are in this truth. That might have went over some people's heads. But there was always law. Moses was the one who gave the written law, where he actually went to talked with Yahweh Shai and Mount Sinai. Held him for a long season. So he came down and he wrote them. They were more in-depth laws. You know, there were laws such as a more in-depth about the Passover. These are all laws. So during the time of Adam, they wouldn't have followed that law. They wouldn't have followed the law of the priesthood, far as the breastplates and stuff like that. But far as the other laws, adultery, fornication, those laws always existed. So there's more to the law than just the 613 commandments. Here in the New Testament, you have 1,050 New Testament commands. Now I'm going to read this little section right here. It says, there are 1,050 commands in the New Testament for Christians to obey. Due to repetitions, we can classify them under about 800 headings. They cover every phase of man's life and his relationship to God and his fellow man now and hereafter. If obeyed, they will bring rich rewards here and forever. If disobeyed, they will bring condemnation and eternal punishment. So, expounding on this statement, it says a lot of them are repetitious. It says you can basically classify them down to like 80 headings. Now, 80 is still more than 613. Now, Yahushua said a lot of things and gave a lot of commands. And he didn't add to the law. He was expounding on the spiritual component of the letter of the law that the Pharisees and scribes were not getting. So there's much more to the letter of the law than the 613 commandments. So don't just think if it's not in the 613 commandments, it's just a suggestion. I ain't supposed to do it. When the things that are in the Mosaic commandments, there's people saying that those are suggestions and not laws. Now, I'm just going to scroll down just a little bit so you can see some of these commands. These are all commands. Right here. Be no idolater. That's not new. It already existed. So these are some of the laws. Hope I'm not going too fast. Or shall I say commands, which are still laws that we are to follow to help us in this faith. Now, with there being 613 Mosaic commandments, the thing is that if you're going to follow them, at least make us and use the law as a weapon to try to attack somebody. At least follow them yourself. Don't try to find loopholes in it. Scripture says, study to show thyself approved unto the Most High. Not study to justify your bullshit that you kicking. You're not supposed to study like that. So all that philo that you said in the comment board, whatever, that's all that is irrelevant. You're supposed to study the scriptures. What's in them? Because if you're really studying, this is a stumbling block you not about to stumble over. It's a law. It's as simple as that. Now, if you see, you got a t-shirt, 613. Again, it's in reference to the Mosaic laws. It's really, really that simple. It's in reference to the Mosaic laws. You can't even trip over it. Or you're very manipulative, meaning you're an agent, or you're so proudful that you admit that you're wrong. So you want to try to stand on that argument that frontlets is not law, so you cannot wear them. The truth is, Israel don't want to wear frontlets. They don't want to. It's not fashionable. You know, you could put fringes in the border blue in your t-shirt and conform to the world because the world wears t-shirts. So you can conform to that. But there's no way to conform to frontlets. If Israel, start making fitted hats and frontlets on it. That's Israel might do that if you become fashionable, but put it on your hand. That's too much. So they'll say, no, that's not law. Well, hey, what's to differentiate that not being law from the other 611 laws? So are those the only two laws that's not law? And on that note, I'm gonna give all praise. How about Shem Yahweh Kodash? Double GMS rule well. Peace, salutations to like Akim in the four corners position with sincerity. Peace be unto you and shalom.
It's going overtime.
12 years ago, off the sunset coast of Perth, Australia, a computer network analyst was arrested for stealing one of the most important pieces of insight and information we have today regarding all of this stuff. Upon his arrest and 8 hours of interrogation, he refused to disclose where he had gotten this information from. What information did he steal? Nothing. I just made this entire scenario up. Do you see how easy it could be for an AI or a computer program to write up a plausible article like this and disseminate it? Make 3 or 4 websites push different variant versions of the BS story. Share it to Facebook, Twitter, push it out on Google, and let the unknowing populace read it, believe it, and share it further until a fake story becomes a real story.
Did you hear that little snippet? And that's where we are in this truth. Somebody can just make some shit up because they got the most views, the most followers. They on Instagram, they on Snapchat, IG, Facebook, MySpace, and everything. Because the apostles basically said already, don't have social media. So you're not going to see too many GMS members on social media spreading the truth. But you'll see Sicarii members, see other camps. So their message is going to be going out a little bit further because they're on more social media platforms.
How long do you think it would take for someone to realize it wasn't real? Things like this have honestly happened many times, and by the time the truth comes out, the internet has moved on to whatever the next objective is.
And just like that, false news and fake news being spread. You know, this thing that's going on right now is going to be soon forgotten. It's going to be on to the next thing. And then somebody going to wake up tomorrow or next week, whatever. They don't see what's going on. They don't see that we rebuked them. All they see is the video that the brother made that got 10,000 views, and then the one that he's being rebuked on and he's being proved to be a liar has 2 views, 5 views. So which do you think is going to be more popular, more believed? It's going to be the one that's more popular. This internet shit is this internet shit is a blessing and it's a curse. Blessing because the truth comes out on it. It's a curse because now it takes away the level of intimacy when you're learning from your elders. You know, I didn't grow up in One West, but at a time there was One West existed. Internet wasn't popping like it was. The apostles, elders, they weren't on YouTube. So to get this doctrine, you had to go to One West or you had to know somebody. But now you got the internet, so you don't gotta go and learn in person. You don't gotta learn about the protocols. You can just, watch a video when you a high priest overnight and anoint yourself. You don't have to face the consequences of talking to your elders any way you wanted to, because you can do it behind the safety of the internet. on the web page. Paul, he got stoned. When you're on the internet, you don't got to worry about people doing anything to you. You're on the internet.
By that future point, almost no one cares anymore, and the facts get moved off of search engines and pushed into unfindable parts of the internet. The internet of old is dead.
So the thing about Sicarii is that they're in algorithms that we're not in. So there's going to be people that their algorithm is going to pop up on their feed channel or their channel for a recommendation. And then you might comment on one of their videos and you cutting them and you think you cutting them so everybody who watches them can see that they're getting cut. And really ain't nobody seen it because the internet hides comments. Sometimes they delete comments. So it almost is like defending the gospel in that aspect over the internet almost becomes obsolete in the regards that you're supposed to defend it so people know what's true and what's not. But when your message is basically being deleted, your comments being deleted, and YouTube ain't even showing your comments, it almost makes it to no profit.
Here's another interesting thing you yourself can witness. The internet on your smartphone is not the same as the internet on your PC. Try it out for yourself. Go to any popular website with a lot of traffic and spend a few days randomly checking the same thing from your PC and your smartphone. You'll notice from time to time that what you see on one device is completely different from the other. Entire threads can play out differently. Sometimes you'll see different comments, different like to dislike ratios on comments, all kinds of weird anomalies you'd only notice because you're coming at it from two different places. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced the case of trying to find that one comment that you really liked and never being able to find it again. Maybe it was simply deleted, but it's weird that so many of us have experienced that before. The argument for algorithms is that it helps us find what we want to see and caters to our likes and dislikes. That doesn't sound so bad, right? But I don't buy that for a second, because for years and years the argument was that different algorithms for different people don't exist.
Now on to a comment that I said I would address in the video. And the comment reads, can you give me your take on Exodus 13, verse 15 through 16, please? And it reads, and it came to pass when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that Yahweh slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beasts. Therefore I sacrifice to Yahweh all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. Elaborating on this verse, the word for matrix is womb. And the Hebrew characters, they have meanings.
Go ahead. And out of the ground the Lord power formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Like, for example, the first character of the Hebrew, the Lashwan Kodash, is for alap, which means a cow or cattle. It means cattle. Ba represents bayath, which is house, which was a tent, and so forth and so on. Lamad is a la, which is a snake. Go ahead.
It says, and Adam gave name.
Now, when these characters come together to spell out a word, they express more than just the word, express what it is oftentimes. And sometimes it has deeper meanings when you get into the individual characters. Now, I'm not about to get specifically in these characters in the order what they represent. But if you spiritual, as you grow, you kind of can see what's going on in some of these characters as it pertains to womb. Now, to get a more of an entry level of what I mean and what I'm speaking about as far as Hebrew characters, I have another video from my older channel that I'm gonna upload here, and I guess you would kind of call that like an introductory to the Hebrew characters and the power of Hebrew, because you're really uttering powerful words and numbers when you say Hebrew words, because the Hebrew characters, they also represent numbers as well. Now, elaborating further on in the verse where it says, Yahweh slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to Yahweh all that openeth the matrix. So now stopping there, the Most High, one of the plagues, the Most High slew all the firstborn of Pharaoh's, of basically all the Egyptians and their cattle. Reading on, it says, and the firstborn of beasts, therefore I sacrifice to Yahweh all that openeth the matrix. So the matrix is the womb, being males. So now, opening up the matrix, referring to coming out the wombs, but it says being males, because when you have a children, every time your firstborn is always going to be a male. Sometimes your firstborn might be a female. So the Most High is saying all that open up the matrix, but the ones that come out the womb, but the ones that are males, the firstborns. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes your firstborn might be a girl. Sometimes your secondborn might be a girl. Sometimes your third might be a girl. Fourth, fifth, then you might have a boy on the seventh or so. So he says, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast, therefore I sacrifice to Yahweh all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. Now, if you read in Exodus chapter 1 and verse 16, one of the things that the Egyptians were doing is they were killing all the men children, the men child. They were killing all the boys. They was saving all the girls. Because there's a strength in the men. That's often the strength of your family. You give your inheritance to your oldest. So I'm reading on, it says, I sacrifice to Yahweh all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. Now, word redeem means I save. So he's talking about, he's going to say the children of Israel. So this is, what this verse is talking about. So it is a token between us. So I'm going to save your children as well. Now, don't think this just means that, okay, unless you was the oldest born, I wasn't saving you. No. Sacrifice basically means, when it says, therefore I sacrifice to Yahweh all that openeth the matrix, being males. So when you sacrifice to Yahweh, to the Most High, your life is basically dedicated to that. Samson, from birth, he was a Nazarite. So he was specifically chosen for a purpose. So here we are, the men in the scriptures. We have a very important role, and there's some who have more important roles than others. So there's levels to this thing. I'm gonna give you a precept that also helps to elaborate on this. This is really the whole chapter of Numbers, the whole Numbers, the 7th chapter. I'm gonna just read a little portion of it. It says, and it came to pass on the day that Moses had fully set up the tabernacle, and had anointed it, and sanctified it, and all the instruments thereof, both the altar and all the vessels thereof, and had anointed them and sanctified them, that the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their fathers, so the heads of the house of their fathers would be all the firstborn. That's, basically your head. That's who you give your inheritance to. Reading on. Who were the princes of the tribes, and were over them that were numbered, offered. So you read on, they basically made offerings or sacrifices. So these were basically special men among Israel that had very special duty that particular time. Verse 16 is basically talking about how frontlets, they go up on your head. They're to help remind you of the law. That's a law by itself on the forehead. Frontlets on your hand, that is a whole nother separate law. If you need me, I'm not sure if you wanted me to provide pictures or whatnot, but just for time's sakes, because I've been working on this video for a good minute, and I kept getting setbacks, and it's the program that I'm using to edit has been going haywire. Actually, I'm kind of getting it under control again. I had to lost a lot of progress that I made. I had to keep redoing over and over. So Salaki about that. But for time constraints, just not going to add that in my video because I don't want to spend too much time, dealing on this Sicarii issue. But yeah, so the frontlets, they go up on your head, between your eyes, and then they go around your hand, and that's supposed to be there to remind you. Those two are laws. There's 613 of them, and those are just two of the 613. I hope that was edifying for you. Hope I elaborated on your question pretty good. Again, apologize for not including the actual verse on the screen, Numbers chapter 7, but for time's sake, again, I chose not to put it in here. Because I should have been done with this video, because I'm already anticipating another video I plan on doing. On that note, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash, double honors to the elders GMS rule well. Peace, salutations to Lekakim, Kwam Bakayam, and Shalom.